They told you to be selfless, to give, to serve, to always think of others first. But here's the harsh truth they never wanted you to hear. The more you care about others, the less they care about you. The more you chase their approval, the more invisible you become. And while you're busy giving your time, your energy, your attention, they're taking, feeding, using. You were never taught to focus on yourself, because a focused man is dangerous. A man who puts himself first becomes unpredictable, uncontrollable, unbreakable. The truth is this: if you want power, peace, and purpose, you must become your own obsession. This video will teach you how to cut off every distraction, build your inner empire, and turn into someone no one dares to manipulate. And before we go deeper, like this video if you're ready to stop being used. Comment this empowering phrase below right now: I choose me, because that's where your transformation begins. Ready to stop being available to everyone and finally become loyal to yourself. Let's go deeper. Number 1. Why the world wants you distracted. The system doesn't fear the loud, the angry, or even the violent. It fears the focused, the man who tunes out the noise. Because once your mind is locked on yourself, your goals, your growth, your inner power, you become untouchable. Think about it. You're bombarded every day. Notifications, opinions, drama, useless content. It's not random, it's a strategy. A distracted man is easy to control. A distracted man doesn't build, he reacts, he consumes. He feels everything but accomplishes nothing. That's why they train you to care, to scroll, to comment, to think your value is tied to your visibility, to care what she said, what he posted, what they think. But here's the truth: the man who detaches rises. He goes ghost, he goes inward, and while others burn themselves out trying to be seen, he's building something no one can touch. Real inner dominance. Marcus Aurelius didn't scroll through gossip. He wrote meditations. He trained his mind like a soldier trains his body. If you're tired of being used, if you're tired of watching everyone pass you while you waste time on meaningless distractions, then comment this below: my focus is my weapon. Because from this moment on, it is. Smash that like button if you're ready to go silent, go deep, and rewire your focus. In the next section, I'll show you what happens when you focus entirely on yourself, and why the world suddenly treats you differently. Number 2. The power of radical self-absorption. Let's destroy a myth right now. They told you that focusing on yourself is selfish, that it's wrong to put your needs, your peace, your purpose before others. But here's what they didn't say: nobody respects the man who gives himself away cheaply. In a world of oversharers and approval addicts, the man who is radically self-absorbed becomes a threat. Not because he's arrogant, but because he no longer needs them. When you focus entirely on yourself, something strange happens. You start to glow differently. You walk slower. You speak less, but with more weight. You no longer chase, you attract. Dark psychology calls this withholding value, and it's one of the most powerful forms of silent influence. When people realize they can't access you as easily, they begin to crave your presence. Not because you changed, but because your absence now has gravity. Here's what Stoicism teaches: the inner citadel, your mind, is sacred. When you guard it, when you prioritize it, you don't become selfish. You become sovereign. So here's your test. For the next 7 days, pull your energy back. No unnecessary replies, no chasing validation, no explaining yourself to people who don't deserve it, and observe. Watch how they start noticing your silence more than they ever noticed your voice. Comment this now if you're ready to make yourself a priority. My energy is reserved for me. And don't forget to hit that like button. This transformation starts the moment you choose yourself. Next, we'll reveal how the Stoics built their entire legacy by focusing inward. Number 3, how Stoics prioritized the self. The ancient Stoics weren't loud, they weren't flashy. They didn't seek validation from crowds or applause from strangers. They were dangerous in silence, because every moment, every breath was spent fortifying one thing: themselves. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet his greatest work wasn't carved in marble or written on scrolls for public praise. It was done in secret, a journal, a dialogue between himself and his higher nature. He wrote not to impress, but to sharpen. He reflected on failure. He questioned his desires. He destroyed his ego piece by piece until what remained was something unshakable. Epictetus was born a slave, yet he became one of the most respected minds in history. Not because he fought his masters with weapons, but because he mastered the only thing they couldn't touch: his thoughts. Seneca had access to unimaginable wealth and power. But what did he focus on? Not parties, not approval. He meditated on death, on time, on self-restraint, because he knew everything outside the self is temporary. But the man who has mastered himself lives forever. So what does this mean for you? It means you stop apologizing for building yourself in silence. You stop explaining your need for solitude. You stop giving energy to people who want your attention, but not your growth. Focus is not just a tool, it's a shield. In a world that profits off your weakness, your self-discipline is rebellion. They want you reactive, they want you emotional, they want you chasing temporary highs, so you never realize the depth of your own potential. But when you decide, like the Stoics, to retreat inward, to write instead of scroll, to breathe instead of argue, to observe instead of react, that's when transformation begins. And make no mistake, the world will notice. They'll ask why you've changed, why you don't respond, why you seem untouchable now. Let them wonder. You're not ignoring them. You're becoming something they can't reach. If you're locked in right now, comment this to seal it in. I'm building my inner empire. Like the video if this mindset speaks to you, and if you're serious about mastering yourself, not just surviving but dominating your world from within. Next, we go into the dark side of attention and how people use it to control your life without you even realizing it. Number 4, the dark psychology of attention manipulation. Let's strip it down. Your attention is currency, and every person, platform, and product is fighting to spend it for you. But here's the twist. What you give your attention to, you give your power to. Dark psychology understands this deeply. It doesn't need to break you. It just needs to distract you, because once they have your attention, they control your emotions, and once they control your emotions, they control your actions. You're no longer thinking, you're reacting. This is how the weak keep the strong weak. They don't challenge you directly. They bait you into wasting your mind on nonsense, on gossip, on conflict, on fake urgency. You think you're making choices, but really, you've been hijacked, pulled into someone else's script, trapped in someone else's loop. Think about the last time you felt emotionally drained. Ask yourself, was it because of something meaningful? Or was it someone pulling strings in the background? A comment, a post, a headline, a toxic conversation you didn't need to have. The moment you stop guarding your attention, you become a puppet. That's why Stoics teach radical focus. Not because it's peaceful, but because it's strategic. Your attention is the gatekeeper of your mind. And if you don't protect it, the world will program you to serve its agenda, not yours. So what's the move? Cut the strings. Unfollow what doesn't serve you. Ghost the people who only contact you when they need your energy. Mute the noise until all that's left is your mission. You don't owe your attention to anyone, not your ex, not your fake friends, not the algorithm. only to what builds you. If you've ever felt like the world was draining you, it wasn't by accident. It was design. And now that you know it, break it. Comment this right now if you're taking your power back. My attention belongs to my evolution. And hit that like button if you're tired of being emotionally baited. Next, we'll dive into the power of isolation, why pulling away from everything is the most powerful move you can make. Number 5, isolation equals clarification. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. Most people don't fear being alone. They fear meeting themselves in silence, because when the noise fades, when the phone is down, when the room goes quiet, you're left with the only voice that truly matters, your own. And that's where the truth lives. You see, the masses avoid isolation because distraction keeps them numb to their failures, numb to their lack of purpose, numb to the fact that deep down they have no idea who they really are. But isolation, it's not punishment, it's purification. The Stoics used solitude to clarify their mission, to hear the chaos of the world and choose not to engage. Marcus Aurelius often wrote at night, alone with his thoughts. No court, no audience, no advisors, just raw self-auditing, brutal honesty, no filters. That's what you gain in isolation, clarity. You start seeing people's true intentions. You start noticing where your energy leaks. You finally feel your own power without needing validation. Dark psychology reveals this too. A person who disappears becomes more feared than one who argues. Because in silence, you gain leverage. You observe, you plan, you evolve. And when you return, you're no longer the same. So the next time you feel lonely, don't run from it. Sit in it. Ask yourself, who am I without the noise? What do I believe when no one's watching? Because in those answers is your rebirth. Comment this right now to claim your space. My silence is my sanctuary, and if this hit deep, like the video right now, it helps push this message to others who need it. In the next section, we'll sever the biggest chain of all, the addiction to other people's opinions. Number 6, cutting the strings, detaching from people's opinions. You want to know what keeps most men weak? It's not lack of talent. It's not fear of failure. It's this. They're still trying to impress people who don't even matter. You've been conditioned to perform, to be liked, to fit in, to be seen as nice. But here's the truth no one dares to say out loud. Being liked is the most addictive drug on earth, and it kills more dreams than failure ever could. You change how you dress, you soften your voice, you bite your tongue, all for the approval of people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared tomorrow. That's not connection, that's enslavement. The Stoics knew this poison well. Epictetus said it clearly. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. That's the game, because to grow, you must first be willing to stand alone, to be mocked, misunderstood, ignored. But here's the reward. Once you stop caring what they think, you gain the freedom to do what you were meant to do. And let's go deeper. Dark psychology shows us this too. People will always try to control what they fear they cannot become. They'll label your focus as arrogance, your silence as rudeness, your standards as ego. Let them. It's not your job to be understood, it's your job to build. So here's what I want you to do. The next time someone doubts you, disagrees with you, or disrespects your mission, don't argue. Don't explain. Just get quieter and more dangerous. Because when you detach from their opinions, you become impossible to manipulate. Comment this if you're ready to cut the strings. Their opinions don't build me. And don't forget to like this video if you're starting to see just how deep your power runs. Up next, we'll tap into pain, not to suffer, but to turn it into the most focused energy you've ever known. Number 7, turning pain into laser focus. Let's be honest, pain has always been your teacher. But the question is, have you been listening? Or have you been distracting yourself from the very thing that could have built you into a monster of focus? You see, most people waste their pain. They drown it in noise, in fake relationships, in scrolling, in substance. Because facing it, it's uncomfortable. But you're not here to be comfortable. You're here to be powerful. The Stoics embraced pain, not as punishment, but as the furnace of greatness. Marcus Aurelius lost children, fought wars, ruled an empire under constant threat. Yet in every entry of Meditations, he repeated one thing: endure and adapt. That's your formula. Your pain is not the end, it's the sharpening stone. Dark psychology teaches this too. A person who knows how to channel emotional pain becomes unbreakable. Not cold, not numb, but calculated, because while others are chasing pleasure, you're forging discipline. While they crumble under pressure, you're building under pressure. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every rejection, it's not there to break you, it's a message. Focus harder. Use the pain to go deeper. Use it to build your body. Use it to grow your business. Use it to become so obsessed with your goals that pain becomes your fuel, not your excuse. That's the shift, from victim to strategist, from emotional to elite. Here's what I want you to comment right now. My pain is my precision. And if this hit you in a place you've been avoiding, like the video now, because transformation doesn't come from ease. It comes from intensity. Next, we unlock the no-contact rule with the world, and why vanishing is sometimes your most powerful move. Number 8, the no-contact rule with the world. There's a moment that comes in every man's evolution. Not with noise, not with fireworks, but with silence. An inner knowing, a quiet click, and suddenly the world feels too loud, too fake, too draining. You've outgrown the lies, the drama, the distractions. You've realized the battlefield was never out there, it was always inside you. And now it's time for the most ruthless move of all. You go silent, not to be petty, not to hide, but because you finally understand the truth. If you don't protect your peace, you'll never unlock your power. This is the no-contact rule with the world. It's not about ghosting people to prove a point. It's about vanishing to prove something to yourself. No contact with people who drain you. No contact with news that poisons you. No contact with your former self, the one who begged for attention, gave out explanations, and stayed accessible to anyone with an opinion. You stop giving free access to your energy. Because here's the brutal truth. Availability is the enemy of elevation, and the more available you are to everyone, the less you are to yourself. Think about how often you've interrupted your focus for someone else's urgency. How often you've let chaos into your mind out of politeness. How often you've broken your own peace just to maintain a connection with people who don't even value you. That ends now. When you initiate no contact, the world thinks you're disappearing. But what's really happening is that you're reappearing to yourself. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius led armies, ruled an empire, carried the weight of a kingdom. But every night he withdrew, not physically but mentally, into himself, into silence, to reflect, refine, reclaim. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a more peaceful retreat than in his own soul." Understand what he meant. Not a vacation, not a spa, but an inner chamber built through discipline, solitude, and uncompromising truth. You don't need a cabin in the woods. You need boundaries in your mind. This is spiritual warfare, where your greatest weapon is disconnection. You unplug from the algorithm. You exit group chats with fake support. You go no contact with distractions wearing the mask of entertainment. Why? Because you're tired of being predictable. You're tired of being soft, reactive, accessible. And in a world full of noise, the man who is silent becomes terrifying. People will notice, they'll ask why you don't reply. They'll wonder why your presence vanished. They'll assume you're angry. They'll think you're depressed. Let them. What they'll never guess, what they can't even comprehend, is that your silence is surgical. It's not pain, it's purpose. It's not weakness, it's war. Let me break down what no contact does to your life. 1. You regain mental clarity. Without constant inputs, your mind starts to breathe again. You start to think for yourself. Your decisions sharpen. Your intuition strengthens. The fog lifts, and you finally see what matters. 2. You filter out the fake. When you stop reaching out. Watch who stops checking in. Watch who fades. Watch who never really valued you in the first place. Silence exposes every mask. 3. You create scarcity. In a world of oversharing and overexposure, scarcity is power. The man who rarely speaks becomes someone worth listening to. The man who vanishes becomes the one they wonder about. Mystery is gravity. Let them feel your absence. 4. You multiply your energy. When your phone is dry and your schedule is tight, guess what happens? You train more. You build more, you create more. Your progress explodes because your energy is no longer leaking into meaningless places. And here's the most important part. When you return, you're unrecognizable, not because you wanted to impress, but because you disappeared and turned your silence into substance. They'll ask, "What happened to you?" And all you'll say is, "I stopped explaining." So here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, go no contact with every part of the world that dilutes your focus. Every application, every person, every habit. Build your own rules. Speak only when it adds power. Move only when it adds progress. Think only thoughts that elevate. This isn't a detox. This is a shift. From scattered to sovereign. And now, I want you to mark this transformation. Comment this right now. I disappear to evolve. Say it loud. Say it for your future self. Say it so the version of you that begged for attention finally dies today. And if you felt this in your soul, don't just like the video. Commit, because this silence you're about to enter, it will break you down. But then, it will build you into something they'll never see coming. In the final section, we finish what we started, because when all distractions are gone, all that's left is you versus you. Number 9, you versus you, the only battle worth fighting. At the end of the day, there's no enemy out there more dangerous than the one you see in the mirror. Not your haters, not your past, not even the people who doubted you. It's you, the version of you that makes excuses, that scrolls when it should be studying, that stays silent when it should speak up, that hesitates when it should strike. This is the final war, you versus you. The Stoics knew this long before psychology gave it a name. They didn't try to conquer the world. They conquered themselves. They knew that when you master your inner world, the outer world has no power. No insult can break you. No loss can shake you. No rejection can define you, because the man who's conquered his own mind has already won. This is where you turn from passive to powerful, from reacting to leading, from drifting to driving. No more waiting for permission, no more blaming others, no more someday. It's you versus the version of you who settles. Choose the one who builds. Choose the one who stays disciplined. Choose the one who doesn't flinch, because he knows he's not done until he wins. Now comment this one final time. The only competition is me. And if this video hit home, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications right now, because this channel, Stoic Mate, is your sanctuary in a world of noise. And together, we're building an army of men who don't chase validation. They become the standard. This is just the beginning. The transformation has already started.